So you think you know your personality type, right? Well, let's talk about the part of you that's quietly sabotaging your relationships, the part that's holding you back. This is the side you probably don't want to admit you have.
I want you to consider something. What if your greatest strength, the thing you're most proud of about yourself, is also your biggest blind spot? What if it's the very reason people sometimes find you, well, difficult?
Look, this is not going to be one of those videos that just strokes your ego. We're not here to tell you how great you are. We're here to pull back the curtain on the hidden patterns that are quietly messing things up for you.
And let's be super clear, this dark side isn't about being evil. It's much simpler and kind of more tragic than that. It's your best quality, just pushed way too far. So far that it starts working against you. Okay, first up, let's dive into the idealists, the NFs. Your deep values and empathy are your superpower, but when that superpower is left unchecked, it can curdle into some pretty harsh judgment. NFP, you live by your principles, and that's amazing. But be honest, have you ever been in that moment where you're silently judging a friend because their choice just doesn't feel authentic enough for you? That feeling of moral superiority? It's really just a shield to keep messy, complicated reality at a distance.
In INFJ, you have this incredible insight into people. You just get them. But does that insight ever tempt you to kind of nudge people and situations in the direction you think is best? It feels like you're helping, but really, it's a quiet form of control.
ENFP. Nobody creates that instant electric connection like you do. But you've probably seen this happen, right? One minute, you're pouring your entire soul into a connection, and the next, you're distant. It leaves people completely confused, wondering, wait, what did I do wrong?
ENFJ, you give so much of yourself to others, but what happens when all that effort isn't appreciated? You feel that burn, and that's when the caring can start to look a lot more like trying to control them, just to get the validation you're craving. You're not just helping them, you're losing yourself.
All right, let's switch gears to the rationals, the NTs. Your logic is your greatest tool, but sometimes it can morph into straight-up arrogance.
INTJ, you're the master strategist, always 10 steps ahead. But in that laser focus for the perfect plan, do you find yourself just dismissing people, writing them off because they're too inefficient, or worse, too emotional? A brilliant plan is useless if you've alienated everyone you need to make it happen.
In TP, you love to analyze things to death. It's your comfort zone. But let's be real, that endless analysis is often just a very sophisticated form of procrastination. And that emotional detachment, it's a convenient shield to avoid making a tough call and actually taking a risk.
ENTP. You love a good debate.
But is it really about finding the truth, or is it about the thrill of winning the argument? You can twist logic into a pretzel just to prove you're right, turning a discussion into an intellectual power play.
And in ENTJ, you are a force of nature when it comes to getting things done. But in that relentless drive for results, people can start to feel more like pawns on your chessboard than actual human beings. Their feelings become inconvenient obstacles, and that doesn't make you a leader. It makes you a tyrant.
Next up, the Guardians, the SJs. You guys are the stable, reliable backbone of society. But that stability can easily harden into sheer rigidity.
ISTJ, everyone knows they can count on you. But that deep respect for the way it's always been done can make you shut down new ideas before they even have a chance to breathe. You're not just being reliable, you're being stuck.
ISFJ, you are the ultimate caregiver. But here's the pattern. You give and you give. You never say what you need in return, and then you get quietly furious when no one reads your mind. That isn't kindness. It's a recipe for passive-aggressive resentment.
ESTJ, you're a natural at taking charge, but you're so convinced your way is the only right way that you stop leading and start dictating. You just steamroll anyone who dares to suggest a different approach.
ESFJ, you just want everyone to get along. But that desire is so strong that your own self-worth gets tangled up in whether or not people approve of you. You're not actually creating harmony, you're just abandoning your own needs to please others. And finally, let's get to the artisans, the SPs. You guys live for action and freedom, but often that's just a way to run away from the hard stuff. ISTP, you're self-sufficient and logical, but the second a situation gets emotionally complicated, you're out. You just shut down. You call it being independent, but it looks a whole lot like being emotionally unavailable. ISFP, you hate conflict more than anything. But by constantly swallowing your own feelings to avoid a fight, you're not actually solving anything.
You're just building up pressure until a tiny issue explodes into a massive relationship-ending problem.
ESTP, you are all about the thrill of the moment, but you're so focused on that immediate rush that you completely ignore what's coming down the road. You risk waking up one day realizing you traded a stable future for a few good times.
And ESFP, you are the life of the party. But are you constantly seeking that spotlight because you're genuinely afraid of what happens when it's quiet, when you have to just be alone with your own thoughts? It's not always about engagement. Sometimes it's about escaping yourself.
Okay, so if you're feeling a little called out right now, good. That means you're actually listening. The goal here isn't to make you feel bad, it's to show you where you have the power to change.
It really boils down to this. First, you have to recognize the pattern. You have to see it. Once you do, you can't unsee it. Then you just have to acknowledge the damage it's doing. And from there, you finally have a choice. You can choose to do something different.
Please remember this. Your personality type is not a life sentence. It's not a box you're stuck in. It's just a starting point. And seeing your own dark side, that's the first real step toward becoming who you're actually meant to be.
So now, I want to know. Be brutally honest with yourself and with us. Which one of these descriptions hit a little too close to home? Drop your type and your ouch moment in the comments below. Let's get real about it.